Chris here, and welcome to my channel. As you can see by my setup, it's time to play Phase 10 Chooses My TBR. It's that time again. We're already almost to September, which is completely crazy to me, and it is time to play another round of Phase 10 Chooses My TBR. I am doing 4 readathons in the month of September. The first is the Final Book Support Group. This round runs from the 2nd through the 8th. I will have my TBR video up for that at some point. Haven't quite decided everything I'm reading yet, but I'm very excited to take part. I love doing this and focusing on my series, so quite looking forward to that. In the same vein, I'm doing Series September, which is for the entire month of September. This is another one that will have its own separate TBR, and again, focuses on series, so hoping to see a lot of those work for whatever prompts I draw. Then I'm doing Sufferathon, and I have no idea what that's going to be. I think we kind of find out as we go. So fingers crossed the books I pick end up helping me during that readathon. And then, of course, there is the Phase Out Your TBR readathon, which is my readathon. This will be for the entire month of September. And the idea is to use a similar version to Phase 10 Chooses My TBR that I have created to help you phase out your TBR. I'll link the announcement video for this round in the cards above if you'd like to come join us. It's a lot of fun, but also low pressure. So if you're looking for a low pressure readathon, then come join us and work on phasing out one of your TBRs. There are 2 other things I should mention. I am obviously still doing Buzzworthon. The prompt for this month is Senses, and I'm going to be reading The Eye of Ra. I don't know much more about it, but it is an ebook I own, and it does fit the prompt. Hopefully, I will enjoy it. And then the other book I'm going to mention is Good Girl, Bad Blood. This is the 2nd book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, and it is part of the Bookstara Readalong. So I enjoyed the first book, and I'm looking forward to checking out the second one at some point in the month of September. So that covers my readathons and, book clubs and stuff like that. As for my nonfiction, I'm going to read What I Mean When I Say I'm Autistic, Unpuzzling a Life on the Autism Spectrum. I own the ebook of this, and I've been trying to get to it for months, and it just hasn't happened, so I decided to make it a priority this month with it being my nonfiction. So very excited to read this one and see what else I can learn about being autistic with this particular book. Which brings me to this. Hopefully this will be kind to me and will give me a series that kind of work with books I'm already planning on reading, because it would be nice to have a chill month, because I worry about what that's going to do to me. So let's see. I'm going with an orange one. Ooh, a green one. And ooh, a white one. Let's see. Ooh. Okay, this wasn't on my TBR, but I'm not mad. The Dark Deep. So the second book is The Beast, and I remember reading The Dark Deep a while ago. And it is definitely a spooky, creepy middle grade, and the first book definitely had creepy vibes. I do remember that. And it looks like it follows a 12-year-old boy named Nico. I'm trying to remember the details here. And he ends up going over the edge of a cliff where no one ever goes, and is rescued by some friends, and they discover an island hidden in the swirling mists. It appears uninhabited, but something feels off, and they soon have some creepy and weird stuff begin to happen. Yeah, definitely remember the spooky vibes of this one, and since we're headed into spooky season, I'm not mad. So we'll continue on with this series in September. Let's see. I can easily do this one. Fence. So I got a little bit excited there, and unfortunately I cannot do volume 3. My library does not have access to volume 3, and the one copy that is in must be from a different library in the system, and you can't always request those. So right for now, I can't continue on with this series, so we're going to remove it from my TBR jar. And I guess I'm going to have to pick something else. Okay, we're going with the purple one. Aunt Dimity, again. Let me figure out what book I'm on. So the next book I'm on in my reread is Aunt Dimity Takes a Holiday. This is a series that follows Lori, who in the first book finds out that Aunt Dimity, who she believed to just be a character her mom made up for bedtime stories, is actually a real person who was her mom's best friend, and that she has recently died and left everything to Lori, which includes a cute cottage in Finch and a blue journal that allows her to contact Aunt Dimity on the other side. And she usually investigates some sort of mystery with the help of Aunt Dimity. I'm working my way through a reread because I had kind of put the series down, and it had been long enough that I remember the last book I read, so like the most recent book I read in the series, details were really fuzzy. So I was like, you know, before I read the next book, I think it's time for a reread. So I've been slowly working on a reread. So this is where I'm at, and I have no issues at all whatsoever adding this to my TBR for the month of September. It is absolutely the vibes I'm starting to get into with like cozy mysteries and stuff like that. So this was a perfect pick if I couldn't read Fence. And then the last one, Which Way Librarian. Let me see if I can get the next book. So I was really excited about this when I realized what series it was, because I'm only one book behind. Unfortunately, that one book is another one where my library system has it, but only the library that has it can take the books out. I don't know if I'm explaining this well. So basically, if my library bought a brand new copy of a book, they can make it so that it's available in the library system, and the library, like people who live in different towns and go to different libraries, can see that it exists. But the only people that are allowed to check it out are people who have cards specifically to my library, not people who are using the system. And this is another one where there's libraries in the system who have it, but they're not my library, so I can't take it out yet. I think there's like a 6-month wait. So this is another one I can't read right now. So we're going to go back to the pot here. Oh, here's the yellow one. Okay, well, this just couldn't be more perfect. Stationery Shop Mystery by Vivian Conroy. I started this last month, and I can tell you I absolutely can read the next book in the series because it's on my TBR. And it is called For Letter or Worse. So this series follows Delta, and in the first book, she has bought into a friend's stationery shop and become a partner in said shop, and has moved to this cozy little town. And once they're in the first book, has to kind of investigate a murder that happens during a workshop that they held, well, in the hotel where they were holding the workshop. And I don't know what this one's going to involve, but it is a cozy mystery. I was planning on continuing the series because the third book is on my physical TBR, and the third book is also the most recent, so I had planned to continue this in September. So this kind of has worked out perfectly and makes me very, very scared for that, because things are going way too smoothly. So those are going to be the 3 series, and I will see in the next month, like I will look into seeing if there's ways for me to continue Fence and the Which Way Librarian series that don't involve me getting a copy from my library. I will say Fence is probably unlikely because I don't want to read graphic novels as an ebook. I've found that's like, I struggle with ebooks anyways, but I found that graphic novel ones are really, really hard. So I might have to wait until that one passes its 6 months. But I might be able to find an ebook copy of the Which Way Librarian series. I don't know. We'll see. In the meantime, though, the stationery shop can go back in my TBR jar. And the Dark Deep can go back in my TBR jar. As can Aunt Dimity. Assuming it lets me roll it. It wants to stick to my finger. It's not good. Let's roll that one back up, and we'll stick that one in there as well. Which means we can pop the lid on and put this away for a month. So that brings me to this. It is currently the 21st when I'm filming. We're filming a little bit early, and I have, I want to say, 4 books and my streaming left on my TBR, I believe. 2 of which I'm going to start today and likely finish at least one, if not both of them. The other 2 are Ragna Crimson, which is a manga, and this one, which is not going to take me any time at all. And then I have to watch 4 hours of streaming, so I don't see any way I don't finish my TBR. So we're going to get a reward. And I'm going to go with this one. And we're just going to take the top card off. And it is going to replace the green 3. So let's slide this green 3 back in, just so that there is a possibility that I might actually pull it. Oops. We'll put those back. And then we'll slide whatever prompt was up for green 3 back into my prompt deck. And try to shuffle them. It's, again, really, really hard to shuffle my prompts together. But we'll give them a few shuffles here. And now we can dive into the game, I believe. Draw number 1 is a red 8. I should also mention I'm still working on phase 7, which is 2 sets of 4. So to finish the phase, I need a 7 or a 12. And that's an 8, so definitely not a 7 or a 12. But so close to being a reward. Let's see. Red 8 is animal main characters. So for this, I'm going to read Tales from the Pack. These are little novellas from the Survivor series. It's the only book in the Survivor series I haven't read, so this feels like a really good time to stick this on my TBR. I'm very excited to hear about Alpha, Sweet, and Moon's stories and dive back into the world of wild dogs. I should also mention that I still have a reward from last month, and that's combined 2 prompts, so I do have that in my back pocket should I need to use it. Let's replace that with this, and we'll go to draw number 2, which is a red 10. Okay. The prompt for red 10 is foiled cover. So for foiled cover, I'm going to read The Troublemakers by Tamsin Merchant. This is the 3rd book in the Hatmaker series. There is definitely some foiling on this cover. This was a gift from Michelle reading on my breaks. Thank you, Michelle, again, for this book. I'm very excited to dive back into this series. Foiling on the cover is always a hard one for me because I have them, but I don't have tons. So when I went out and I was looking at books and I saw this one, I went, oh, it's perfect. And I'm so excited to dive back in to this series. So, well, I wasn't necessarily planning on getting to this book this month. I can't say I'm disappointed with the fact that I get to add it to my TBR. So we'll replace that with this, and we'll go for draw number 3, which is a green 4. So close, so close. My red 8 prompt does not want to stay stuck. Green 4. Same genre as my last 5-star. Let me go see what my last 5-star was. So my last 5-star is Homebody by Theo Parrish, which is a nonfiction. And I was not expecting that. So I'm going to go with Queer, A Graphic History by Meg John Barker and Jules Shelley. And it says, from identity, politics, and gender roles to privilege and exclusion, Queer explores how we came to view sex, gender, and sexuality in the ways that we do, how these ideas get tangled up with our culture and our understanding of biology, psychology, and sexology, and how these views have been disputed and challenged. Along the way, we look at key landmarks which shift our perspective of what's normal. Alfred Kinsey's view of sexuality as a spectrum, Judith Butler's view of gendered behavior as a performance, the play Wicked, or moments in Casino Royale when we're invited to view James Bond with the kind of desiring gaze usually directed at female bodies in mainstream media. Okay. I had requested this from my library. I believe it should be in the month of September. Fingers crossed. Because I am taking a risk with this because none of my library holds have been picked up yet. Some of them have come in. Some of them have been shipped, but I haven't actually physically picked them up. So fingers crossed is it actually there and I can get my hands on this because this is what I'm going to go for Same genre as your last 5-star read. We'll replace that with this. And draw number 4 gives us a green 8. And green 8 is another Booktubers TBR. Okay, well, I'm, again, filming this on the 21st. Far as I know, no Booktuber has put out their TBR. But, I think I have something that will fit. Otherwise, I will let editing Chris give you my book. But I think I'm going to go with Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, since this should be on the hosts' TBRs, and they're all Booktubers. So I would assume that's going to be on another Booktubers TBR for the month of September. I feel like it's a safe bet. So we're going to put that one here for now. And if need be, editing Chris will pop in to let you know if I have to change that for some reason. So we're going to replace that with this. And then we'll go to draw number 5. And I've completed my phase. So first things first, we're going to do the prompt for Blue 5. And the prompt for Blue 5 is different culture. So for different culture, I'm going to read C.C. Rios and the King of Fears. I believe this is the second book. The first book is C.C. Rios and the Desert of Souls. And I believe, it's been a while since I've read this. But I definitely believe it falls under different culture, because we're following Cece, and she's always believed there was more to the criaturas who roam the desert. After all, it's common knowledge that only Brujas consort with the spirits, and Brujagery is a terrible crime. And then her older sister is kidnapped by a powerful dark creatura, and Cece ends up going to bring her back. So I definitely think this counts as a different culture, because obviously I don't know much about the myths of creaturas, which I hopefully am not butchering. But I remember really enjoying this one, and seeing Cece go after her sister and try to get to the bottom of things. And I mean, it has been a while, so I might actually watch my review of this to kind of jog my memory as to what I thought about it. But I think it's time I dived into the second book. So we're going to check out C.C. Rios and the King of Fears for different culture. Let's replace that with this. And we'll do draw number 6, which is a green 12. But I just realized I never got my reward for finishing that. So actually, this is going to go on a green 12. I'm all over the place. I was trying to find the green 12, and my power flickered, and I was worried that I was going to have to stop filming. Because there are thunderstorms in the area, apparently. I didn't know it was supposed to rain today. So we're going to put this on the green 12. And I'm feeling this one. So that'll replace green 12. Once again, we'll take the prompt pile, slide this back in, and mix them up, because I get a reward for finishing my phase, which is either to put a new reward on the board or to take down a punishment. And since I don't currently have any punishments, my only option is to put a reward on the board. And, whoops, we'll slide this back in here. And we'll just give these a quick shuffle so that there is at least a chance that one of the 2 green 12s that could potentially still be, well, actually the green 12s are both in this deck, because I would have used the green 12 if I had pulled it. I wouldn't have put it over here, so. Okay, so let's try draw number 6 again. It was all going so incredibly well. And we'll try draw 6 for a third time with the green 9. The prompt for green 9 is pretty cover. So for this, I'm going to read Jupiter Nettle and the Seven Schools of Magic. I just think that the colors on this cover are gorgeous, and I really like the art style. This follows Jupiter, obviously, and she has dreamed of getting into the seven schools and doesn't know quite what to do when it turns out to be the worst thing ever. She expected it to be full of spells and wands and friends, but not so much. She has to clean up after animals, do endless gardening, and endure teasing from her classmates. It says when Jupiter finally reaches her breaking point, it's up to her to decide whether she truly belongs in the seven schools or if the magical experience she believed in was never real to begin with. So yes, I just think this cover is really, really pretty. It's a graphic novel, and I like the art style, so hopefully it will be a fun read in September. We'll replace that with this. And go to draw 7, which is a yellow one. The prompt for yellow one. Under 500 ratings. So I thought this was going to be a lot harder to find one of the books on my TBR that has under 500 ratings. But I'm going to read The Train of Dark Wonders because this only has 35 ratings on Goodreads. And I don't know how that's possible because this is by Alex Bell. And Alex Bell wrote the Polar Bear Explorers Club series. This is their newest book that was just recently released in paperback in the US. I think it's been out since last year, but that might have been overseas. And it says, all aboard the Train of Dark Wonders. Bess has always loved her grandfather's collection of curiosities, so she's delighted when she's handed the keys to his auditorium. But unless she finds a way to pull in the crowd, she'll have to close his doors for good. When a mysterious train pulls into town, bound for the land of Halloween sweets, Bess hatches a plan and sneaks on board. She is soon discovered by Beau, the puppeteer, Louis, the violinist, and Maria, the fire witch. Eager to join their adventure, Bess sets out to search for the rarest sweet of all, the ghostly gobstopper. But the land is ruled by the fearsome candy maker, and beneath the sugary surface, things are more dangerous than they first appear. So I'm hoping that this has all of the things I love about the Polar Bear Explorers Club, but with maybe a slightly spookier vibe because I'm very excited about spooky season. Plus there's a train. I love trains. So this feels like it's going to be perfect for the kind of season we're heading into, with it being set kind of around Halloween. So hopefully I love it, and I'm, again, astonished that it only has 35 ratings. So we'll replace that with this and go for draw number 8, which is a green 11. A green 11. Y'all, tease. A random genre wheel. So I have pulled up a random spinner wheel, and I have fantasy, sci-fi, nonfiction, historical fiction, mystery, thriller, classic, contemporary, and romance. We're going to shuffle these a few times just to make sure they're mixed up, and then we'll spin. Classic. Okay. So for this, I'm going to go with the next book I need to read in the Hercule Poirot series by Agatha Christie, because I'm in the mood for mysteries, and, well, she's kind of the queen of those. So the book I'm on is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, and according to Goodreads, it is the greatest and most controversial of her mysteries and breaks the rules of traditional mysteries. So, we're going to see how this goes. I'm not going to read anything more about it. We'll find out when I get it. But, like I said, I'm in the mood for mysteries, and I want to continue a series. So, Hercule Poirot it is. Let's replace that with this one. Draw number 9 is a blue 4. The prompt for blue 4 is poll pick. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a poll pick up in my community tab when this video goes live, so that you all can vote on a book for me to read in the month of September. Your 4 options are going to be The Beast, which is the second book in the Dark Deep series, The Thief Knot by Kate Milford, which is the 4th book in the Green Glass House series, The Eye of Ra, which is my Buzz Wordathon pick, and Aunt Dimity Takes a Holiday. So those will be your 4 options. Check my community tab to vote and help me pick a book for the month of September. This is rough not knowing which of these books you're going to pick for me and which I'm going to end up getting to read. So let's replace that with this. And we'll go to the last of our regular draws, draw number 10. Is a skip. Oh, perfect. Okay, I don't have to pick book for this prompt. Woohoo! We like skips. So now it's time to deal with this pesky wild. I'm going to roll this die, and whatever number comes up is how many extra prompts I have to draw, and we're going with 3. Could have been worse. Fingers crossed for no more wilds. And keep in mind, I could still combine it with a book I've already read by taking the new prompt and picking one of the books I've already picked. So, wild 1, draw 1 is a yellow 5. And the prompt for yellow 5 is booktuber fave. So this is always such a tough prompt for me because I always struggle to remember what books are booktuber faves off of the top of my head. I should probably create a spreadsheet somewhere with books I want to read that are booktuber faves, so when this prompt comes up, I have a list that I can hit up. But I was trying to think of books I might own or series I'm in the midst of that I know are booktuber faves, and I remembered that I am in the middle of the realm of the Elderlings. And I remember when that was a read-along for the Catch-Up Book Club, which was hosted by Becca from Becca and the Books. And I know that a lot of people who were taking part would consider this one of their favorite series, I think. I know it emotionally wrecked people, so I'm going to assume that there was probably at least one of them that would list that as one of their favorites. So I'm going to hop back into that. I may regret this. And I'm going to be reading Ship of Destiny. This is the 3rd book in the Live Ship Trader series, which I think is the 2nd kind of arc in the realm of the Elderling. I don't have a Scooby-Doo what is going on, because it's been a bit since I've read book 2, but I know there are discussions if I need to re-jog my memory, because again, Becca did a whole read-along for it. So I think I'm going to dive back into the world of Hob and pick up Ship of Destiny. So fingers crossed this goes well for me. We'll replace that with this. And we'll go with Wild 1, draw 2, which is a yellow 2. The prompt for yellow 2 is set outside of the US and the UK. So for this, I'm going to read Letters Across the Sea by Genevieve Graham. It says, if you're reading this letter, that means I'm dead. I had obviously hoped to see you again, to explain in person, but Faye had other plans. 1933. At 18 years old, Molly Ryan dreams of becoming a journalist, but instead she spends her days working any job she can to help her family through the depression crippling her city. The one bright spot in her life is watching baseball with her friend, Hannah, and sneaking glances at Hannah's handsome older brother, Max. But as the summer unfolds, more and more of Hitler's hateful ideas cross the sea, and swastika clubs and no Jews allowed signs spring up around Toronto, a city already simmering with mass unemployment, protests, and unrest. When tensions between the Irish and Jewish communities erupt in a riot one smoldering day in August, Molly and Max are caught in the middle with devastating consequences for both of their families. 1939. 6 years later, the depression is eased and Molly is a reporter at her local paper. But a new war is on the horizon, putting everyone she cares about most in peril. As letters trickle in from overseas, Molly is forced to confront what happened all those years ago. But is it too late to make things right? From the desperate streets of Toronto to the embattled shores of Hong Kong, Letters Across the Sea is a poignant novel about the enduring power of love to cross dangerous divides even in the darkest of times. So this is sounding like it's going to be mostly set in Canada. And so that is definitely outside of the United States and the UK. So I think this is going to be perfect. It sounds really, really interesting. And I can't say I have read a book about Canada during World War II. So this should be quite the interesting read. So let's replace that with this. And for what is hopefully my final draw, Wild 1, draw 3, is a yellow 11. Okay. The prompt for yellow 11. Sci-fi. So for sci-fi, I'm going to read Finn and the Intergalactic Lunchbox by Michael Buckley. Finn fully has a lunchbox, and when he opens it, weird things come out, like a strange device that glues itself to his chest. The lunchbox also opens wormholes that take Finn to the farthest corners of the galaxy. Sounds awesome, right? Not so much. Rocketing through the cosmos attracts the attention of the Plague, a race of gigantic bugs. The thing on Finn's chest belongs to them, and they want it back. I think this might have been one of the picks for the Kellogg's reading challenge books a couple of years ago, and it sounded interesting enough, so I snagged it. We're going to see if this sci-fi clicks with me, and at least it's middle grade, so it should be an easier read. We'll replace that with this, and there you have it. There is my TBR for the month of September, including whichever book you picked for me for poll pick, which I won't know at this point. Hopefully, whichever one you pick, I end up loving. Hopefully, this month goes smoothly and I can get through all of my books. So far in August, I've had a really good month, so let's hope, fingers crossed, that I can keep that mojo going into the month of September. But that's going to be all for this video. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me alien emojis in honor of my sci-fi choice. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!